Well, good evening, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fourth season of BCI Courtside Live. I am Clark Kellogg. Tonight is the first of four we will be having during the basketball season. For those of you joining us for the first time, BCI Basketball Club International hosts Courtside Live for the purpose of connecting pro basketball players with fans and kids around the world. Viewers can check out archived CSL events by going to bciedge.org/courtside live. And as always, viewers can use the chat box to ask the players questions throughout the 1 hour show. Those questions will appear just below the video area for this evening, and we'll be sure to get to them, as many as we can. So now let's get right to it and meet our participants tonight. An all SEC defensive team and all SEC second team selection at LSU. Garrett Temple averaged 7 points, 5 boards, 4 assists during his senior season in 2009. He is now in his sixth NBA season. 6'6" shooting guard has spent time with several teams, but most notably the last 4 with the Washington Wizards. This year he will take his long-range shooting stroke to the Sacramento Kings. John Bryant has spent the past 5 seasons in the NBA Developmental League. Currently, he is a player development coach with the Philadelphia 76ers. In addition to the D-League, he has been an assistant coach with the Nigerian men's national team for the last 2 summers, most recently coaching the team in the Rio Olympics this past summer. Prior to his coaching career, John played professionally in the NBA D-League, Australia, China, Czech Republic, England, and Germany. He and his wife, Allison, reside in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and have 2 children. And then finally, Mike Penberthy played his college basketball for the Masters College in Santa Clarita, California. Played there with great distinction, broke a number of school records, including most career points, and was a 2-time NAIA All-American. He was also a member of the 2001 Lakers championship team, appeared in 56 games for the Lakers that year. Averaged 16 minutes, 5 points, while shooting 40% from three-point range and 90% from the stripe. Following his stint with the Lakers, Penberthy played overseas in Italy and Germany, makes his home in LA. Mike and his wife, Wendy, have 3 children. Gentlemen, welcome, and thank you guys for carving out some time to chat and talk a little hoops and life and faith and all of those things. Garrett, John, Mike, thank you so much, guys.
Appreciate you having us.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate the time. Hey, this is opening night in the NBA. Just wondering, I know, Garrett, you're in Phoenix now. You're with the Kings and getting ready to open your season tomorrow night. But any special feelings for you guys when the start of the basketball season comes to be? Garrett, why don't you take that one first?
Just the anxiousness, especially if you're with a new team, a new set of guys. You've been with them for, I guess, a month up until this point. But when it becomes for real, when the games really count, things get a little different, and it's just a lot of anxiousness. You're excited, and you're ready to get started. You've been beating up on each other for enough, so it's time to play a real game.
Yeah. How about you, Mike?
Well, I mean, now having spent my summers working with players, I'm just busy watching all my guys play. So I'm excited to see all the work we put in and then get to see them finally play games. So I'm anxious for them. It's a little nervousness because, you just want to make sure that they're all healthy and that they have good years. So I'm excited just to see them, put all the work to fruition on the court.
Yeah. How about you, John?
Well, I'm a little different than the rest of you guys. I feel like I'm the only rookie here. So all of you guys have had experience in the NBA. Well, this is my first season in the NBA. So I'm excited, period, point blank. I'm very excited. I can't wait to play Garrett and then fellowship with him from now on. And I can't wait. I can't wait for tomorrow night.
Yeah, the excitement is kind of the permeating theme. And it's been a long time since I played, but I spent time with the Pacers broadcasting and now do college basketball. So there's an excitement that's certainly real and palpable. If you would, I'd like to go back to each one of you guys. I gave a brief introduction as to your background, but would like for you to color that in and kind of give folks that are listening a little more detail as to where you are, what you're doing right now. Mike, I'll start with you there. I know you work with a ton of players, but give the folks a sense of what you're doing in and with the game now.
Yeah, currently I'm living in LA. I do all my player development in the off season in LA, yeah, right around 15 players this year. Long days. I try to do them all individually, so get as much work as I can and build relationships with them. Both trying to help them on the court. It builds into relationships off the court, but a lot of guys call for shooting stuff, so it's all shooting driven. And since the game's kind of become heavy in the shooting world, my schedule's gotten busier. So truly blessed in that regard, and I love what I'm doing. So, but yeah, it's just day to day now managing in the text messages. Making sure everybody's good, staying with that. I have a few guys that I keep on during the year. Then I do a couple trips overseas just to make sure some of the younger players I'm working with coming up available in the draft here and there. A couple teams in Europe as well, consulting with. So it's basketball busy, but that's what I'm doing now. So it's all player development, all private.
How long have you been at that, Mike?
This will be 6 years now. So started in 2009 after I retired from playing in '08. So this is summer 6 or 7. So it's it's been going great. Love what I do, and I'm blessed to be able to do it. You just get better at it every year because the more you do it, the better you get at it. So
Sure.
I'm fortunate.
Yeah. How about you, John? Kind of fill in a little of what you're doing currently.
Just was promoted. I was an assistant coach last year with the 76ers D-League team in Delaware. Was promoted to player development coach, primarily working with their post player. And we have a ton of them. So I've been very, very fortunate to be in this position. And the amount of favor I've been shown in the past couple of years has been amazing. So I just, Mike touched on it a bit. It's been a lot of relationship based work, to set the ground floor, and then they'll start listening to me from there.
Yeah.
They're NBA players. They made it this far. Right now they need someone in their corner, helping them out just from day to day, how to manage their life in the NBA as young adults.
Yeah, exactly. Garrett, I know you're actually still playing, and John, is a nice kind of segue talking about young players. You've been around. Actually, you're a young veteran, I would call you. So kind of give people a sense of your journey to this point to be where you are now as a 6-year NBA player.
Yeah, actually, just beginning my 7th, Clark.
Okay.
Yeah,
six on the books.
Yeah, eighth as a pro, 7th in the NBA. But it wasn't easy. Was undrafted out of LSU. I had a multitude of 10-day contracts. My first 2 years in the league, I played with five different teams: the Rockets, Kings, Spurs, Milwaukee Bucks, and Charlotte Bobcats. And then went to Italy. Spent one whole season in Italy during the lockout. Played, like I said, the D-League teams I played for in Rio Grande Valley, Erie, Pennsylvania, and Reno, Nevada. And then, Christmas Day of 2012, what a fitting day to get called up, huh? Especially a Christian guy like me getting called up by the Washington Wizards. And I actually had a decision whether to go. I was in training camp with Miami that year. I had a decision whether to go to Miami or to D.C., and I bet on myself. I told Coach Spoelstra I'd bet on myself and go to D.C. so I could actually get some playing time and try to earn a contract, and I was able to do that. Wow. And I got my first guaranteed contract the next season. After that, signed a 2-year deal, and then signed my first deal this past summer for something more than the minimum. So God has shown me favor. I feel like I'm the most favored man in the world because of the way he's been able to keep me grounded, keep me hungry, keep me humble, and just showing what perseverance and understanding what your calling is. And I just know that I thank him every day, but just very blessed to be in this situation, man.
Man, just like when we talked about the start of the season, the theme word seemed to be excitement. And then each of you guys, as you talked a little bit about where you are and a bit of your journey, uh, I heard favored, blessed. Talk about what the game has meant to you in the context of being blessed and favored. John, I'll give you first crack at that, but love hearing those words as you guys talk about your different journeys in the game.
Well, it's funny. I mean, I wasn't very good. So as a player, to be truly honest. And so, you know, I see and read all of your resume, and it puts mine to shame. So I played on a very good team at St. Joe's and with Jameer Nelson, Delonte West, and we had a great team and a great coach. And that, I think, is what propelled me to move to be a pro. It was kind of how I navigated as a person and as a Christian, and how I elevated from there. So, you know, it takes a lot for someone to listen to me when I can't back it up with numbers. You know, Mike is a great shooter. Garrett is an all-around player that can play multiple positions. I averaged 40% from the free throw line in my senior season in college. So what I can say is to me, my journey with basketball is about relationships and creating as many relationships as I possibly can on and off the court, particularly with our guys, of course, and with our staff and the bond you have every day. But in every city, you know, if you can let your light shine however you can by touching the one person, you never know what that could do to that one person. And that's why I feel like I'm in this position, you know, regardless of my playing history, you know, and whatever you want to call it. But that's why I feel like I'm in the position I am right now.
Yeah. And did you know that you would end up in this kind of coaching role? Is that something you aspired to do as you moved along in the game, or did it just kind of evolve and unfold?
It evolved into that. I knew I wanted to do something with people. I wanted to either teach or be around as many people as I possibly could. And I like basketball, and now I love basketball. And so it kind of organically became this.
Gotcha. How about you, Mike? Favored, blessed, obviously, faith, and tremendous talent on the court. But talk a little bit about those two things and how they've worked out for you.
Yeah, I mean, I get to stay in the game. I get to live my life from a work standpoint on the court. So I'm blessed in that regard. I mean, this is a passion of mine since I was little. It wasn't easy either for me, you know, battling the stereotypes, battling the tryouts. You know, I was cut 20 times. So getting there was hard. Staying there was harder. And in the playing aspect, being in shape, I mean, I'm not genetically blessed with that type of body, so I was having to work on that side. So yeah, I mean, it was a lot of work, but you know, to be able to stay in the game, to continue to work with players, to teach what I know and continue to learn from the good players, you know, that is a blessing because it's a passion of mine, and to be able to have my family involved, my kids come with me to all my workouts. My wife loves hoop, so it's a family affair, and they get to see me live my life as a father, coach, Christian in that environment, you know, and we all know what that environment's like. So to be able to be a living example to my children, that's a blessing.
Yeah,
and then,
exactly.
You know,
Garrett, you want to pick up there? Obviously, you talked a little bit about your journey and how were you sustained in being persistent? How did your faith perhaps be? How was that central in you continuing to hit the rock, if you will?
I mean, they were one and the same, honestly. Being strong in my faith, just understanding that you know, God would give me a sign if this wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. You know, I wasn't very highly touted coming out of college, so for him to give me a call up as a rookie in the D League, to play a position that I didn't even play in the D League. You know, I got called up as a rookie to play point guard, and I played strictly the two. You know, I was able to show my versatility. Each team I went to, it was divine type of stuff. You know, I got cut by the Rockets after 10 days, headed to the airport, and the Sacramento Kings called me and told me they play in Houston in 2 days and they want to sign me. And I turned around and got, you know, checked into the Galleria Hotel. Things of that nature, you know, getting cut by Miami, and then trying to decide whether to go to Washington or Miami, and then picking the right team, praying about it. You know, God has just guided me in so many ways in this journey, up until the fact, you know, in terms of what team to play on. And, you know, I think my faith has really helped me be the type of person I've been able to be in this league. As Mike has said, it's not easy to be a good Christian. And I think that's also excelled, you know, my worth, my value as a basketball player in this league, because coaches understand, you know, it's not always all about the statistics, but about what you can bring to a team outside of basketball and how to change a culture. And, you know, that's all goes back into what type of, you know, my faith and what type of Christian I am. So just trying to be the right type of man. You know, God has just put me on so many different levels.
Yeah, you guys all talk about basketball as being a gift, a blessing, and a little bit of a mission for you in what you're doing now. Garrett continuing to play, John and Mike in forms of coaching. I'd like to dig a little deeper into your faith stories for our listeners and viewers. John, I'll start with you. When did you come to a relationship with faith in God? When did that happen for you? And if you wouldn't mind kind of giving us a sense of how that transformed, that transpired for you. And then I'll roll through the other guys as well.
For sure. Well, I believe I've believed in some form or fashion my whole life. Growing up in the church, I'm from Virginia, so kind of Southern Baptist with my parents. But I played overseas, and it's difficult. You don't get a chance to study and to serve as much as you would like to. I'm away from my family and friends and loved ones. But so I think there was another kind of wave where I rededicated my life, and that was on actually a BCI Edge trip with Sharm and Kathy, and they set that up. And we went to China and we fellowshipped for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And honestly, that was where I rededicated my life. It was it was probably 2005.
Okay.
And since then, I felt it be my mission to serve, and the strong sense of being around people really came from that trip, and not necessarily shoving my faith down people's throats, you know, for lack of better words, but just being me and talking with as many people as I can, and by some way they see who I am and who he is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where I am today. And, you know, I'm not perfect. None of us are. But it's, as long as I can acknowledge that it's always a process. Yeah. And just as long as you continue to understand and work on your craft as a Christian, you'll continue to get better.
So. Great words, because we are work in progress, and we don't quite get to the finish line, but we're always aspiring to move more towards it and to allow Christ to shine in us and through us as we journey through life here, and then ultimately with him. Mike, kind of give us your story of faith, if you would.
Yeah, I grew up in a Christian home. Grandfathers are pastors. My dad was an associate pastor for a while, became a teacher, coach. I have brothers that are pastors. So it was in my intention to be a pastor. I was a Bible exposition major in college. So I was born in a pew, you know, is what I tell people when I give my testimony.
So if we put it in layman's terms, you've been immersed in the Kool-Aid.
In the Kool-Aid, yeah. And that got me through. That got me through my younger years, you know. And when that faith becomes your own, you know, that's a beautiful thing. But I feel like that was when it tests you the most as well. And when you feel you feel the onslaught of temptation or just a struggle person. But you know, playing ball, being a Christian, you know, that those have its challenges on its own. And I'm truly thankful for my upbringing. Extremely conservative, then clashing with a non-conservative world of basketball and that culture. It helped me, but it didn't save me. You know, I mean, you still have to battle every day. You still have to stay in the Word every day. You know, and when I don't, I feel that the most. So, growing up in it and still press on each day, battle it. That doesn't make it any easier, honestly.
Was there a specific moment when you grabbed hold of your faith for you? Was there a time? I mean, obviously you were well immersed in Christianity because of your family, but was there a time when you can recall where you said, "Hey, this is mine. I'm taking hold of."
Yeah, you know,
it's in me and Hamba.
Yeah, you know, I'd say, Clark, it was probably after my dad passed away when I was 26, and I felt like I was somewhat on cruise control until that time, and that rocked my world. And when that happened, it made me question everything, and I had to go figure out, is this what I really believe? You know, why would he die at 52? So having to deal with that was difficult, and then coming out of that was when I would say Christianity really made sense to me. I did accept Christ at a young age, and I remember that time when I was 13. But I would say Christianity became real to me, and understanding what that meant as it pertained to what my life was supposed to be was around 27, 28.
Yeah. There's moments that God knocks on all of our hearts, and how we respond is part of our story. You know?
Absolutely.
How about you, Gary?
Yeah, well, I grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Went to church basically every Sunday. You know, like most Southern Baptists, I think my mom woke me up around 10 or 11 when I was 10 years old. I was sleeping at church. She woke me up, brought me up to get baptized. But when it really hit me, I feel like I was I want to say my second year in college, 19 or 20 at LSU. And I really began getting in the Word. And I started going to a church that was more word-based, and started getting in the Word and understanding the application of the Word to my daily life. After being throughout the D League and the NBA, and then going overseas, I kind of strayed away a little bit, not being around it as much. When I got cut by the Miami Heat, it really tested my faith, because at that point I felt, okay, I've been cut 6-7 times. This was the time I was supposed to make the team easily. All of the pundits said I was supposed to be on the team. So what now? I think my reaction to that, to being cut, like I had done with basically every other one, was thanking the organization, saying that, you know, God had a purpose for me, but I really didn't know exactly what that was at this point. And I think I actually went out to DC for a workout after being in the D League for about 9 games. Went to DC for a workout. They told me they weren't going to sign anybody. Again, another blow. And then, like I said, 6 days later, on the 24th, they actually called me, and I signed. And I went to chapel. I hadn't gone to chapel at all the years before when I was in the NBA. Didn't really even know about it. Went to chapel. A guy named AJ Price, who was with you up in Indiana.
Yeah.
We went to chapel, and the chaplain in DC, I got to give a lot of credit to him, and then his assistant chaplain. So Pastor John Jenkins and then Pastor Keith Battle, they really were able to reach me and teach me about the Word and apply it to my life, and allow me to find my purpose. So I think I would say at the end of 2012 is when I really got into what God has for me, and understanding that it's just for me.
Man, awesome. That's good stuff. You know, you mentioned those two pastors and chaplains. I heard John mention a trip with BCI, with Kathy and the late Sharm Sherman. Mike, you talked about your family. Talk to our viewers about the importance of positive influences in your life as a man, as a believer, as a basketball player. Just talk about the importance of that and the impact and influence of that. And Garrett, I'll let you just keep the floor for a minute. Then
I mean, I think that's probably besides your personal relationship, I think that's the biggest part, the biggest thing, the people you surround yourself with in order to keep your walk steady and consistent. My chaplain, Pastor Battle, used to always say, you can always repent. God will always forgive. But in order to change your course and be held accountable for what you're doing, you have to have people, friends in the natural to do that. And, I was blessed to sign with the Kings, and I have another Christian brother on this team, and Anthony Tolliver, who's me and Mike and Anthony all three went to Hawaii. I think that was three years ago, Mike.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
But just having people like that around you to talk to that understand the struggle we're in, how tough it is day in and day out in this profession. Because it's hard, obviously, but to have people around you for that support is very, very big. It's really something that's much needed. And like I said, I'm very blessed to have a teammate here that will hold me accountable, and we can talk about different things and become closer together.
Yeah, Anthony's been a friend of this this ministry and this outreach, BCI, and terrific guy of faith. John, can you add to that, or maybe take it a different angle from the standpoint of the importance of those other relationships to help you grow and stay on course?
I'm a really piggyback off of Garrett, and it's to put it in the most simple terms, every city that I've been, everywhere that I've tried to seek out an old head, if that makes sense, because it is truly vital and very, very important to me to seek the wisdom, and now I'm starting to become the old head with our players. And so, I'm still a young man. I can still get on the floor and, and hey, I got this. But it's important, Garrett touched on the chapel. That's important. I try to grab a player every time I go to chapel, or at least ask, hey, I'm about to go to chapel. You want to come? And so it's now my responsibility to be that person in their lives. Yeah. And so it's bigger than basketball. It's much bigger. And so, it's becoming this full circle, this kind of really cool full circle for me, because, I touched on it before. I don't have it all figured out, but shoot, let me help this young man and let's figure it out together. And then let me bring in someone else within the organization or wherever. And then, he can share to us how we can, how he struggled and had the same struggles, and then we all figure it out. And so it's so important. It's so important to have someone like that in your life.
Yeah, it sounds like as iron sharp as iron. So one man.
Absolutely. Amen. We have a coach that always says that on our team, Billy Lang. He says it after almost every email, after every player development meeting that we had. That's his motto. And he has been a huge influence, and he's the one that got me going to chapel in the new season that we've started.
Yeah, and that's what BCI is about, really connecting guys through basketball in faith and looking at life from the biblical perspective, and then seeking to live that and walk that out. Mike, I'll give you a chance to kind of talk on the mentor side. Then I want each of you to talk about the challenges of being in the environment that is pro basketball as believers, and how you try to navigate that and work through that at the highest level. So, Mike, go ahead and kind of share the mentoring piece.
Yeah, I think the key word from John was connecting. I mean, I think that's what coaches do. We have to connect with our players and to find a way to just be who you are with them, but find a place where you connect. And that may be in your knowledge, that may be in how you play, that may be in just who you are as a person. But I think finding that connection is key, and then from there building that relationship. But yeah, I mean, now I am on that side of mentoring, but you know, I'm definitely the old head, and I truthfully love it.
Yeah.
I really do. There are young players that are almost as old as my son. So, you know, when you're talking, I was with the Timberwolves for a season, and we had all 19, 18-year-old kids, and they want to play Xbox. And I know what that means because I got a kid that's doing that. So finding that sometimes that was the way into conversation. And so I think you have to really research and try to do that. But again, I agree with you, John. I don't have the answers either, but we have the Word of God, and we can go there. And that to me, the positivity in my life comes from the Word always. And we stay in it, we find it. That grounds us. It exposes sin. It posits truth. It does all those things and builds us. And then we can take that, even if we don't have those people around us that are positive, we always have that.
No, that's good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, before I get struggles, I want to fire a question off that we got from Dimitri. For each of you, what would you guys say is one of the most important things you would tell a young player who wants to play at the pro level? Mike, why don't you take that, and then I'll see if John and Garrett might want to add to it. But Dimitri, thanks for the question.
Most important thing for a young player to play at the pro level, well, I mean, the obvious one is work, and work harder than everybody else says to work. So you got to put time in. Nowadays, everybody seems to have a trainer or a coach or somebody that they're working with. So you got to put that extra time in, and it's got to be in the fundamentals. I'm a firm believer in that. You can get caught up in doing a lot of crazy things these days. Spend time mastering the fundamentals. You'll see the simple basketball's played at the highest level in the mastering of the simple movements. It's not in the crazy stuff. And so when you hammer on that as a young kid, you know, you may develop into something special, but at least you'll have the foundation to be able to play with the special ones. And that's the other side of it. So I'd say just master the fundamentals.
Love that. That's good. That's good advice for life too, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
John, you want to add to that in terms of anything, because you're working with players much like Mike? What would you add to a little different tack to that?
I agree totally with that. You'd be surprised how many players don't have that basic fundamental package in their game. So I think there's different levels in terms of youth. At a young age, have fun. You know, play and do it because you love to play basketball with whoever and whomever. You know, as you start to develop and you understand that, I kind of like this a little bit. And that's when you start working on your craft a little bit more. And I think what Mike said really comes into play. You really go to as many camps as you can to really understand the basic fundamentals. And then as you really progress and prayerfully get a scholarship and play it in college, that's when the work starts. That's when you start to shift your focus and have to prioritize your habits and your work. And that's when you start to understand that, this is serious, so I have to attack it seriously and do everything I need to do to get to get to my goal, which is to be a pro. And you could be working hard, but how are you working? If you don't know, find the right help that can help you to work hard. Do your research. I'm sorry, I'm just, there's just a lot. I've been asked this question a ton. And you can just be out there dribbling the ball as hard as you can. Doesn't mean you're getting any better. So find the right help that can steer you in the right direction.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Garrett, you've traveled this road much as these two guys have. What would you add to the most important thing you could say to a young player who wants to try to play at the pro level?
I got to piggyback on both of them, but work, man. I understand what John said, at a certain age, maybe college is when you really feel like you get serious with it. But I honestly would say if you really want, if you know that that's what you want to do, you don't have to wait till 19, 20 to start putting in the real work. You can do it at age 12, 13. If this is something that you really want to get into. Instead of playing the Xbox, if you don't feel like playing Xbox, you want to go work on your game, go work on your game. You know, that I think nothing can compare to hard work. And but like John said, doing it efficiently. You don't want to be in the gym. Get somebody, get one of your friends to rebound for you, and actually go online, or hit up Coach Penberthy and ask him about some drills you can do, some things that you can do to work efficiently, work smart. Because one of the vets I had in DC told me one thing. He said it's not about how long you're in the gym, but it's about what you do while you're in the gym. And you can be in the gym for 2 hours and not get nearly as much work in as if you were in the gym for 35, 40 minutes. So especially by yourself. So don't be afraid to put in the work, and I guarantee you the work will pay off. It will pay off.
Yeah, it does. I mean, you typically reap what you sow. On that line of thinking, what was the biggest aha moment for you guys as pros? All of you have played in college and in the pro game. Was there an aha moment as you journeyed into the pro career? Was there something that jumped out that you said, man, this is different, or I didn't know it was like this, or it's beyond what I expected? Anything that kind of one of those eureka moments, I call it, as a pro? Garrett?
I think I don't know about it was I didn't expect it to be this hard, but I think maybe last year I had a moment, late in my career where I had a 3-game stretch where I scored 20 plus, and it was a situation like, I can do that. It's not like I was playing just crazy out of my mind. This is the same shots I'm going to get if I play this amount of minutes, or I just know where to pick my spots. You get to a certain time while you're in the league, where you understand where you get your shots from. You really understand your role and know where to take advantage of spots offensively and defensively. I think last year was that time when I really understood. Hold up, I can. This game is not easy, but there are ways that I can be very successful.
Yeah, gotcha. Perfect. John, anything for you that stands out?
Unfortunately, my aha moment happened right before I was injured and had to retire, and so but it was a valuable kind of aha, and something I can kind of share with others. And so I was playing in the D League at the time in Bakersfield and having a decent season, but I wasn't doing the things to take care of my body. And so becoming a pro and being a pro, there's different facets. It's what you do on the floor and what you do off the floor, and then what you do extracurricular, and your activities outside. And so sleep habits, eating habits, stretching, all of that. And so as I started to play better, all of that fell by the wayside. So I injured my back. I ruptured a disc in my back, and I had to retire then and there. And so it was an aha moment, as in, you know what? Aha, maybe I should have done this and that. Right. And now this is what I need to do to prolong my, athletic life, essentially, from here on out. And so now I can share that with others. Sure. And that's kind of where I am now.
Yeah, that was powerful. Mike?
Well, I had a lot of them. Out of a small school, you have aha moments constantly. I mean, I'm a pickup truck. You guys are Ferraris, so you're always really wondering if you're good enough all the time. And so every time you hit another level, and you get that encouragement, there seems to be more and more as you go on. So, but I would say, when you walk on an NBA court and another player from another team knows who you are, that kind of gives you that, like, oh, they know who I am. Oh, I got Mike. Oh, shoot, I'm actually here. Right. And that happened for me in Portland. And Rasheed Wallace was like, don't let Mike shoot. And I was like, oh, he knows my name.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I'm here. Like, I made it. Like, and so that was one of them. That was the first thing that came to mind. Was I remember that vividly. That was it.
Gotcha. Yeah, excellent. Hey, I want to talk about your families. I know Mike and John both have children, and Garrett, I don't think you've stepped into the matrimony lane yet.
Nah, not yet.
Left that out. So talk about how this would be for John and Mike initially. How you guys handle the demands of being a husband, father. Obviously, you're still in the game. How does that impact how you go about that role as spouse and dad?
Go ahead, John.
Well, you know, I was going to say you go because I need to think about that a little bit
more. Well, tell me how old your children are. How old are your children, John?
I have a 2.5-year-old and an 8-month-old. Son is oldest,
so
and the daughter is.
You're early, but still, you're officially a dad.
Yeah,
and you've been a husband, so there's some dynamics there that you got to navigate.
You're right. You know, I'm a rookie. I'm still figuring this thing out. The 82 games is a lot more than 50 and 70 or whatever you play overseas, and so you know, there's a lot of compromise. There's a lot of I'm tired, but let me take the kids. You know, there's a lot of there's a lot of things that I didn't know, and I'm still learning, which may sound very weird, but I have a great wife.
Oh, it actually sounds great. It actually sounds great.
I have an amazing wife that lets me and provides, and you know gives me room to grow, and I come home to that, and I take the attitude of how can I help more than anything, but I'm still figuring it out, and there's bumps and there's bruises and there's a lot, and so I think the more I can talk with other husbands and fathers, the better husband and father I'll be.
Yeah, well said. We're all works in progress.
Yeah.
I've got 3, and they're grown and out, but the dynamics of it change, but the challenge of it doesn't. Mike, tell me about your children, man.
Yeah, I've got 15, 13, and 11. The key to the whole thing is my wife. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, God knew when He brought us together that she was the key to allowing me to do what I do. So she's amazing. She runs the show, and I try to be there and support as much as I can. There's different roles. You figure that out as you go, John, and you figure out how it works. And I'm trying to be there at everything I can. And she definitely is strong and handling it, and I'm trying to be there to encourage, support, and when I need to, step in as the father. But it's really it's a labor of love, constant sacrifice. If you're sacrificing, you're doing it right, because that shows your love to her and the family. So it's not easy. It's every day something new, especially as they get older. But it goes quick. You don't want to miss anything. You want to be at everything.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. Think of both of you guys. I think about it in my own life with three children that are adults. Teamwork is part of it. And Garrett, I want to come at you from this standpoint. You're teeing it up tomorrow and getting ready to open your season. Talk a little bit about your preparation the night before. Obviously, you're giving us some time, but what typically is your routine night before the game?
Well, on the road, I usually go get something to eat with a teammate. If there aren't any restaurants that we want to go to, I might just eat some room service. But I really just relax. Maybe watch something on Netflix. Get my word in. I read Proverbs, one chapter in Proverbs every day. So, I read a book called The Richest Man Who Ever Lived. It's about King Solomon.
It's a great book.
A great book. So I try to read Proverbs every day, and I just relax, man. Just try to get my mind right for the game. That's basically it.
Yeah.
You don't have a certain routine.
Okay, that's plenty. Yeah. How do you guys water, or at least what disciplines do you have for kind of watering your soul? The world of pro basketball is challenging. We've touched on that a little bit, but what are kind of? I mean, you mentioned a couple of things right there, Garrett. Anything else that you really intentionally try to do in terms of growing in your faith?
I think going to chapel in every city has really strengthened my faith. Again, you know, everybody here knows we play on Sundays, or we may have a practice right, you know, at 10 o'clock. So you got to get to practice early, so you can't go to the early service, and you're doing practice during the late service. So, you know, I don't get to go to church as much. So that 10, 15 minutes, and I get really excited when it's a chapel that I know is going to be good, you know. Seriously, here in Phoenix,
Yeah.
they have a good chaplain, you know. That's one thing I'm gonna miss. Not that I haven't had a good chapel here in Sacramento, but in DC, I feel like one of the best chaplains, you know, in the NBA. But really, I think going to chapel and studying the word that they give you, you know, and just relying on that throughout the year. You know, 82 games in what, 6 months, 7 months.
Yeah.
If you're able to go to 82 chapels, you should be okay if you're going and trying to get the word.
Yeah, making it a priority. Important. Mike?
Yeah, I would say now, you know, I spend a lot of time traveling in the car and on the road, so I do a lot of podcasting. I podcast at least 3 sermons a day. That's kind of my routine. I have 3 guys I listen to, so I'm steady in that. That helps me get a different angle and some wisdom from them. And when it comes to studying the Word, I mean, there's nothing more important to me, truthfully, than Christian music. I think your mind is affected by music in a way that's unbelievable as a young man, and it scares me to think about what kind of music goes into their heads. But it affected me as a player, and I blew it a lot of times. And I think your music is so important. That's a form of worship. But nothing takes away from the Word of God and spending time with Him all by yourself. There's nothing better than that. You master the Bible, you master your life.
Powerful. Well said. Well said. John, anything you want to add to that in regards to our work in progress nature?
Yeah, well, you know, it's the amount of times I can get to chapel, the better. You know, and I specifically said in my pregame warm-ups and rituals that from here to here is the time I would, and at being a rookie, I said that, you know, boldly, I would absolutely love from this time so I can participate in chapel. And so, you know, Garrett said it, 82 games, that's more, you know, more than 52 weeks in the year that you have an opportunity to worship. And that's kind of where I get and on top of my church home here in Jersey. So that's kind of, you know, how I continue to feed myself.
Yeah. Obviously, basketball is huge for all of us in different capacities, playing, coaching, instructing, developing, commentating. What do you guys like to do I know hoops is a big part of your world, but what do you like to do if you're not hooping, John?
With, you know, this kind of ties into the question about family. You know, I want to freeze time with my kids right now. You know, the 2.5 is just starting to really talk and have conversation.
Yeah.
And my daughter, at 8 months, is just into everything. And so I want to just freeze the time. And so as much time as I can spend with them is all that I'm doing. You know, it's everything. And it's starting to get cold here. You guys are in, you know, a little warmer climates than I am. But in Philadelphia,
they are. I'm in Columbus, Ohio. So you mean same.
for sure. So I'm trying to enjoy as much of this weather as I can because it's about to turn really quick.
Yeah. But nothing wrong with those priorities, man. Nothing wrong with that at all. That won't lead you astray one iota.
For sure.
How about you, Mike? I know you
Yeah,
are
it's
3, and I imagine are your kids pretty active, engaged?
You see him running back.
Stuff?
yeah, they've been running behind me the whole time. So
Okay, I just missed them there.
yeah, they're running back for practices. Yeah, we got 3 kids playing 3 sports, so we got practices going.
Wow.
You know, we got the taxi service, and
Yeah.
you know, I'm trying to coach all of them. You know, like you said, it goes quick, so I'm trying to be there all the time. That
So
seems
are
to
you involved
consume.
in coaching them, Mike? Are you actually involved in actually hands-on coaching with them
Oh yeah.
in their sports?
Oh yeah, it's girls softball. I'm figuring it all out as I go.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't know what I'm doing, but hey, good job. You know, I mean,
Hey, as long as you're a willing learner, man,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the key.
Absolutely.
If
I
you're a
better
willing
be.
learner, you can usually, yeah, that's right.
Shoot, I better be. But yeah, I'm at their stuff as much as I can, and then that's about it. Really, the rest of it is
Yeah.
consumed with the work.
Yeah. Great that your bride enjoys hoops too, or sports. It sounds like.
Yeah, thankfully, she was a great volleyball player, so she knows she gets life.
Gotcha.
You know. Yeah.
Exactly. That's real helpful. What about you, Garrett? I know it sounds like you like to read, but if you're not hooping, then what else occupies your time?
Yeah, I read a little bit. I'm actually a big time movie buff. Really enjoy going to the movies. If y'all haven't seen Birth of a Nation, it's a very good movie, must watch. And actually, I'm really getting into. I'm an avid news watcher. I'm really getting into watching a lot of documentaries and things of that nature now. But when I'm home, I spend a lot of time. I have 5 nieces and nephews. One just turned 6, and she's the oldest. So I have 3 nieces, 2 nephews, and I spend as much as my time as I can with them because I'm only home in Louisiana for 3 or 4 months during the summer. Luckily, 2 of them are coming up for the first home games up here in Sacramento, along with my family. I'm a big time family guy, so I can only imagine what's going to happen if God blesses me with my own. I don't know if I'm gonna even go to work at all. I might just be home all day. So, yeah, I really admire y'all, and hopefully I can get to that point one day. Clark frozen over there, huh?
Yeah, it looks like it.
You're open.
Oh, he just left.
Yeah, he did. Working on it.
John, I got Jaleel Okafor was one of my guys this summer, so I don't know. Do you work with him?
Yeah, so I work with him probably the most out of any of our guys.
Oh, good. Good. He
so
needs it. He needs that mentorship. He needs somebody around him.
So that's the biggest thing. I mean, and he's a great person. Great person. So I really have enjoyed spending time with him and getting to know him more than anything. So
yeah, if he lets you in, that's a big deal. He doesn't let a lot of people in. So great kid, man. What a teddy bear he is, you know.
Yeah, he's been great. He's been
good.
Great.
How's his knee?
Things have been going great so far.
Good. So he's all right?
Yeah.
What about
sorry?
Joel Embiid?
You know, Garrett, I don't know if I can talk to you about, everything pertaining to our team. Because that might go into the scouting report.
I was just going to say, from the glimpses I've seen, wow, I didn't know he had all of that. Like, wow. I saw him play against DC.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously I saw him, his touch. I didn't know he had touch like that, but his ability to rebound, like the motor he has, I thought he was kind of lazy or, but the motor he has going out the offensive boards, and he moved Gartal out the way one time and went 2 steps, caught off the rim. Yeah. I was like, well.
He's a special talent for sure.
Yeah.
And I unfortunately have to be against that every day.
What's going on?
Not much. Sorry about that. Had a little power surge that knocked me out the box for a minute. It's called forgetting that your iPad is about to be not fully charged and not having a charger next to you.
Right.
But we're winding down, man. This has been fantastic. We've only got a few minutes before we sign off, but We'd like to give each of you a chance as we get towards the finish line here in the next couple of minutes, just if there's any parting shots you'd like to leave with those that have been watching or will watch in the future as to counsel, advice, a tidbit that can be useful to primarily a young person that may be listening, whether it's faith, family, hoops, all of the above. But we'd love to give each of you about 30, 45 seconds to maybe drop the mic on these young folks with something they could use. Mike, why don't you go ahead? You're the I think you're the elder statesman, so we're going to give you that privilege.
I mean, I guess I would just say, no matter what it is that or what phase you're in life, whether you're growing as a player, you're young, you want to play in the NBA, or you're trying to make it to the league, or whatever it is, I still come back to the fact that there's just nothing more satisfying than knowing God. I don't think there's anything greater than I've won an NBA championship. I'm telling you, it ain't as great as knowing Christ, and I think you find all that you need in the Word of God. He's our coach, in that regard. I mean, the Word equips us, and it exposes the things we need to do right, just like a coach would, and he encourages us just like it would. But you can't miss a day in the Word of God, and you got to have that. I think that's the most important thing that I can pass on.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Well said. Well said, John. I'll let you be second, and then Garrett, you can close us out.
For sure, I'll piggyback on that. So this is a relative term, but basketball is easy. Being a Christian is the hardest fight you'll ever have. So you have to put your armor on every day. And as a young man, as a man, period, there's temptation everywhere, and you will fall short many times. And so it's about getting up. It's about understanding that we're all falling short every day. But at the end of the day, you know whose team you're really on. And so it's let your light shine through anything and everything. And I'm not, I'm the last person, I'm not perfect. And I say this a lot because I want to make sure I'm not preaching, but it's important that I let people know that. But then with my, where I am comes a lot of responsibility, and I have to show that, hey, I am doing my best to be the best Christian I can be, to follow his word and to understand who I'm following. And yeah, I will fall short, but I'll have my brothers pick me up. I will have my mentors pick me up. I will have my wife pick me up. And then we can just keep moving forward. Yeah. And I have, 3 more people in my life that will help me move forward. And you guys.
Perfect. Garrett, you got the last word, and then I'll close us out with just a couple of housekeeping notes.
My favorite chapter in the Bible is Romans 12. And when I read that chapter, it really opened my eyes into how a Christian is supposed to act in this world. And in 2016, almost 2017, the world we're living in today is, I can only imagine, extremely tough for the youth of this generation in this time because of everything that's going on. But the young people, or anybody that's watching this, even if you're not a Christian yet, or you don't really know your purpose in life, I urge you to read Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Read the whole chapter, but verse 2, and it basically tells you to don't let this world transform you. You do whatever you can, like John said, use your light to transform this world. I thank my parents every day for how they raised me to be a very independent thinker, be a person that wasn't a follower, but more so a leader. And it's okay if you're the only person doing the right thing. That's okay. I think that needs to be known that, at age 16, 17, you want to be cool. You want to be this, that. It's okay if you're the only person doing something, if that's the right thing. And I urge you people to you young folks and everybody, to just understand that it's not easy. You will fall. I have fallen. We have all four of us have fallen. But the constant persistence of trying to get better every day, and understanding that, you know, God is so merciful, so merciful. And but like I said, I urge you to read Romans chapter 12. And if you can only read one verse, read verse 2.
Okay. Wonderful, guys. Hey, this has been fantastic. Appreciate all of you carving out time. John Bryant, Mike Penberthy, Garrett Temple. Garrett, good luck to you tomorrow on the hardwood and the rest of the season. John as well in your new role. And Mike, continue to do what you're doing, all of you guys, to impact others through the game for Christ. And thank you guys for being here. I invite you to take a look at archive Courtside Live events at www.bciedge.org. You can also follow us on Twitter at BCI Edge and on Facebook. But before I give my final good night, Kathy Sharman, Sharman's wife, they both started BCI and BCI Edge. I guess she's a Cubs fan. She wanted to take a little shot at me because I grew up in Cleveland, and I'm a Tribes fan. So she wants to say go Cubbies, which she's entitled to. But I'm going to say go Tribes, rally together. And with that, folks, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us this evening. We'll see you Monday, February 13th. I don't know if I'll be here, but we'll be here. Somebody will be here February 13th, just prior to the NBA All-Star Weekend, for another exciting and engaging Courtside Live event. With that, good night. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Better, guys.
Y'all have a good one.